Hello everyone, in this short we're going to talk about state locking with Terraform. I have a configuration here that's using a remote state storage. So I'm using S3 as my remote state storage here. And I have resources already created, right? I have an S3 key or an SSH key and a droplet created. And if I plan, you'll see that they're there. No changes to do, everything's good. Now, this is good and all, but if I wanted to, let's say, change the name of this VM and I'll say like foo, and I do a Terraform apply. Now, Terraform is in the middle of about to do this, right? It's prompting you, it's saying, hey, would you like to do these changes? But let's say like a teammate of mine, they also had the configuration and they changed it to bar. And now they also did a Terraform apply. And their changes are going to go to bar. Now we're both using the same state file, and both of us are about to make changes to this infrastructure. So let's say that my teammate went through and they modified it and they made it bar. Now, at the same time, I go and modify it and I make it foo. Who wins, right? The last one to edit the file, the last one to do the thing, they're the one that's going to win. So in this case, I should probably see it being changed to foo because the foo was the last one to execute. But I just overwrote my teammates' changes who thought that they're going to name it to bar. So if I were to go to the real live infrastructure here and I go to my droplets, you'll see that foo ended up winning out because it was the last one to execute. This is a problem. There was nothing that prevented both of us from modifying the state file at the same time. And this is the problem that locking solves. So in order to configure locking, not all backends support locking, by the way, right? The S3 backend doesn't support locking by default. You need a DynamoDB table to use locking. So I'm going to uncomment that line real quick. And I'm going to show you that in my base infrastructure, I created a DynamoDB table with the necessary configuration that I saw in the documentation. But now that I have that locking capability, I'll run Terraform init. It'll say, hey, you've changed your backend. You sure you want to like do something with it? So I'll say yes, reconfigure my backend, please. And now Terraform knows how to use this backend to do what's called locking. So if I run my apply again, you'll see that it's going to want to change it from foo to bar because bar was the last thing in the configuration. And let's say I talked to my teammate and I said, hey, sorry, I didn't mean to overwrite your stuff. Bar is really what we should be using. It's there. Now, if my teammate goes ahead and says, you know what? It really shouldn't have been bar. I don't actually need a suffix here. I'll change it back. And they go try to apply this. They're going to get an error. They're going to say, hey, someone's already trying to use this state file. There's a lock on it. You can't come in here and just do whatever you want. And this is the problem that state file locking starts to solve. Now, if you want to run Terraform simultaneously, maybe on different pull requests, maybe in CI/CD, maybe from different teammates, only one run can execute at a time to modify state. This saves you from situations like we just saw before where there was competing writes to the state file. Now, one apply has to finish first before the next apply can go through. So I'll finish this apply real quick to show you. We'll update it to bar real quick. And then we will go back to the other side, try to run Terraform apply again. Since there's no lock, we go through and we can go ahead and modify the configuration there. So to recap, when you're storing your state file in a remote backend, that is fantastic. That is a great thing to do when you're using Terraform, but make sure that the remote backend that you're using supports state locking. State locking is a way for you to prevent simultaneous modifications to your state file. If you don't have this in place, you can get yourself into situations where the last one who runs Terraform wins, and you can overwrite configuration changes that other teammates have tried to do. So always make sure you're using state locking. If you're using Terraform automation, it is a necessity. So make sure you're using state file locking. And I hope you enjoyed this short. I'll see you in the next one.